passing the mic. Yeah, so I'm Matt, and this is Reese. And together we are As Seen from the Sidecar. Well, we've had it for the last 15 months. You can't hear.
There's a lot of noise.
Come on forward. Come on forward. There's front row. We can't, there's only one.
There's only one, mate.
Yeah, so, and there's two of us. It ruins the joke, because it's nice that you explain that joke, but yeah, it ruins the flow of it all.
Carry on then.
Yeah, are you sure?
Yeah.
I'll try and project a bit more. Okay. So, yeah, I'm Matt, this is Reese, we're As Seen from the Sidecar. We circumnavigate the globe on that. You can kind of see it, it's a scooter with a sidecar. It's a Honda SH300i. We did 35 countries, 34,000 miles around the world, didn't we?
We did, yeah. So, we set off on the 21st of October 2017. This is us at Ace Cafe London. We aligned it with Unseen's Let's Nail It campaign. So Unseen operate the UK Modern Slavery Helpline. And this is us with about 65 other bikers rallying from London to Paris, putting our middle fingers up to slavery as they were targeting slavery in nail bars. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there we kind of headed south on our own through Europe, making our way down through Europe to Africa. Basically, this is Lake Orchid in Albania. Amazing scenery. Some of the best riding we did in the world was in Europe. And the Islands of the Sky in Greece, Meteora Monasteries. Anyone's been there? That's an amazing place to go. Then we got to Athens and had to work out how to ship it. We're complete novices to this kind of stuff. So there's Reese working out how long it is.
we kind of thought that, yeah. We kind of thought it would probably fit on a boat that's about the same size as me, and it did. So,
Genuinely how we submitted the measurements. That's us trying to work it out, and that being kind of carried on of us not knowing what we were doing at all, scooting around the world. So this is where we first learned what a wheel bearing was in the Sahara when it fell out of our sidecar, and we got rescued by the Egyptian police that day. And we sort of carried on going down through. No one else really knew what we were either. They were all confused as well. This is Ethiopia. We got that kind of everywhere in the world, didn't we?
we did, yeah.
Got to carry on. We just did that because it's fun. Cameras take pictures underwater as well. So we kept going down. Yeah, got to South Africa, saw some elephants, obligatory picture in front of the tabletop mountain, and then
on to South America, yeah. So we shipped into Chile. We were at this point, we did want to go all the way to the bottom of Argentina, but at this point already we were thinking that we needed to try and get to Alaska before winter was coming, right? So we went into Chile and drove up to Cartagena, Colombia. This is a shot of us crossing the Lagunas route from Chile to Bolivia. Has anyone been over the Lagunas route before?
yeah, these guys
I think,
have been everywhere.
yeah. So yeah, Lagunas route is essentially 400 kilometers off-roading from Chile to Bolivia. And we were told, we asked a few people who were planning to do it, who had already done it, what they thought about us giving it a go, and they said, we'll be fine. Well, this is us about 4,500 metres above sea level. Matt's taking the scooter and cycle up the merest of hills, and me running down, pushing up, because not only did we struggle with high altitude, so did the scooter and cycle, and there was very little oxygen up there. So
It essentially wasn't fine. It was a really bad idea for us. But we got out, we got to top to the Uni Salt Flats. Couldn't get a cycle on there, but it was an amazing place. Go there if you can. Then we sort of carried up through South America, shipped around the Darien Gap, went up through through Mexico into the States. Reese tried a cowboy hat on. Didn't really work for you that well. Carried on going up through the States until we got to Canada. All this kind of amazing scenery. Tried to get to Alaska, but bike failed on us, so we had to turn back round. And then we kind of ran out of road, didn't we?
We did, next. Yeah. So we had a decision to make, essentially. So what we didn't mention at the beginning is our trip to the Guinness World Record attempt to become the first people to circumnavigate the globe on a scooter and sidecar. So once we basically realised we had to ship away from the Americas, we basically had to make a decision where we were going to go next. And we came to the conclusion that we would go to Singapore and drive back from Singapore to the UK. However, we then stumbled across a variation of extra problems. So the first idea was to go through China. I don't know if anyone's researched or driven their own vehicle through China before. You have to have a guide. It's unbelievably expensive. It costs about, we got a quote for £10,000 for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that was out of the question. The next choice was to go into Pakistan and sort of work our way up over the Himalayas. But due to the time of year, it was basically covered with about 6 foot of snow. All the borders were closed, so that was a no again. So our last option was to go via Iran. And about 2 weeks before we made this choice, the rules are changing around. So we knew you had to have a guide to go for a run if you're from the UK. What we didn't realise is they changed the rules again. So you literally, if you were on a UK passport, you couldn't drive through on your own vehicle through stop. So we were pretty much scuppered with our idea of Singapore, which kind of led us on to going through
the Trans-Siberian Highway, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Was our journey back from Vladivostok to the UK. So yeah, we ran out of road, and we decided we needed to. That was the only thing we can do because we wanted to do this full circumnavigation where we kept going. So we started planning for it. We had to plan for kind of -30 conditions. We thought it was going to be really cold, and we basically had 2 options. You all right there, mate?
Yeah.
We had 2 options. This will be explained in a minute. We had 2 options. Mate, can you not get like a change room or something?
No, I'm fine. Yeah, you carry on.
Okay, right. We had 2 options. We could take heating kit, where we had to plug it into the bike, or make it work. We were notoriously bad at making things work, and the bike was also bad too. So we thought that wasn't really an option. So we thought we'll have to go for the Arctic version. It's gone the whole hole. Keep the pants on, please. Keep the pants on. Okay, right. So we went for the Arctic kit. And this is our blank canvas, I guess, and what we were going to take with us.
No, sorry, it's not totally black.
Yeah. No, not the watershed yet. Okay, so we decided we would go for the Arctic version and dress ourselves up like the Michelin Man and go around the world like that. So we thought we'd show you what a scooter and sidecarist looks like. So Reese, if you want to get layered up, and I'll talk you through exactly what it is you need to wear. This is going to take longer because you've stripped down more. So
I've got the sense that the crowd really wanted it.
Yeah.
By the crowd.
Your girlfriend on the 3rd row.
I didn't know this was going to happen, so to say.
Okay, well, I wasn't expecting to describe everything, but here's some socks. And then the next layer, was the thermal underlayers. So we had a couple of pairs of these. These were Oxford Products ones. They gave them to us before we left, so we should probably say thanks. Thanks, Oxford Products. Then we got the top ones as well, top and bottom. There we go, starting to layer up a bit. Keep going, keep going. So we had basically had to put all this kit on. This is kind of like wicking.
I'm going as fast as I can.
Yeah. This gets all that sweat off you and gets on there so it doesn't freeze against your body. Padded trousers, jeans or whatever for riding, so if you fall off, we always kind of thought there was not much point in that for us because we had 3 wheels, but we were bad drivers, so also kind of a point there too. A fleece should be in any good adventurer's backpack. Everyone loves a fleece. Reese, what did you go for next? The Snug Pack insulation pants. So they can take you down to like -15. They're not down, they're like synthetic insulation, made in Yorkshire in the UK. Really good brand. Yeah, with the duct tape. The duct tape is where Reese is filling up the bike and leaning against the exhaust all the time. And it was honestly hilarious to watch because he would get so angry. So that was fun.
Squeezies.
And they're very tight on it now. It's holding it on since he got home. Okay, what we got next, mate? In your wardrobe, a rab jacket, kind of a little sort of mid-layer down. That used to be our warmest thing. Turned into a mid-layer. So this is all sort of getting ourselves prepped to ride at -30. You went for a stylish kind of shirt just for keep the looks up. You want to be looking good, don't you? What we got now? More socks. Okay, another 2 pairs of socks. I guess we have got the time. There's not much in this presentation, really. There's socks. And then we've got a riding jacket. Again, driving.
When did you remember you needed a wee then? When
So we've got the riding jacket. Then we've got another. This is a down jacket thing. This is the same as the bottoms, basically. So synthetic material, snug pack, takes you down to -15. Again, you want to do that up there or not? Yeah, let's do it up.
Can you describe the sense of panic you felt when you realised you needed to get in the toilet?
Exactly. You'll see a clip of it later. Not quite, but yeah, it was really annoying and cold. Here's the moon boot kind of things. We bought these in Russia. We took some ones from Canada. They were really bad, so we bought these in Russia. These are amazing boots. And we've got this big sort of Arctic parka over the top. It's really starting to layer up now. Doing it really fast as
Did it
well.
work? Will you actually walk?
And we'll describe that for the next half an hour. Then we've got a schnood. And then Reese tended to go for a balaclava too, didn't you?
Yeah.
You want to put it on properly. And do your little trick, Reese. Go on. Put your tongue through it. Right, nice. And then a helmet. Right, it's going the whole hog in the helmet. And now notice the helmet with the buckle. It's one of those ones, so you can't wear gloves, which was really key, and we'll come onto it because it makes it horrible every time you have to put that helmet on or take it off. So anyway, there's Reese, sort of prepped to go. He's got some gloves too, but this has gone for ages. So let's go on to the next bit. We got to Vladivostok, dressed like that, off the plane, ready to face the environment. Siberia, here we come. So yeah, we got off the plane. Arrived in Vladivostok. It was gorgeous, as you can see. Really cold, a little bit now and again, -2 or something. Yeah, amazing scenery. Got to about mid-November when we got the bike there. We got the bike there in mid-November and we were ready to go. So we got on the road and it looked like this. About 2 degrees, not that cold, sort of just boring, grey, miserable tundra. The only thing that separated the flat landscape was just these big concrete block buildings and plumes of smoke coming from factories. And we were like, God, this wasn't the amazing Siberian landscape we hoped to see. It was just lorries and factories and stuff.
What we sort of, I'm ready now. What we sort of realised when we came to the conclusion that we were going to go through Siberia was that, okay, it wasn't the original plan, but maybe it's this charity challenge we first wanted. So as we mentioned, we were raising awareness for one-day slavery. I'm just going to carry on talking, even though I'm half trained, if you don't mind. So basically, we thought, okay, we're going to go through Siberia. And what we sort of realised going down from Africa and up to the Americas was that at times there was small amounts of sort of intense difficulty, but in general, you're just blown away by the friendly faces and the amazing landscapes. So it wasn't really a challenge, it was just enjoyment, if anything.
Yeah.
So when we realised we were going to go through Siberia, we thought, okay, the final ride home is going to be that challenge. So these first 2 days it was probably about 2 degrees, something like that. So with all this gear, it wasn't a challenge at all. It was just riding through dull nothingness.
Yeah.
And it was like, this wasn't really what we signed up for.
It was a doddle. And then maybe on day 4, this happened. And it turned into this incredible winter wonderland. A big foot of snow dropped. It wasn't forecast. We didn't expect it. Ice everywhere. It all looks incredible, amazing, just like this. And for the first day, we were just like amazed. We're adrenaline pumping. We didn't know if this thing was going to work. We genuinely didn't know when we got the first snow whether we'd be sat in that dodgy motel until spring, because we didn't know if the sidecar would go in those conditions.
No, yeah, but once we actually looked outside, realised it was snowing, uncovered the sidecar, it did work. It was sort of had this bizarre scenario where we sort of had to give it like a run up. So if you were trying to pull off, it was a nightmare. But as long as you sort of were like, I don't know, on a slope or something rolling downhill, eventually we just start going, and we were comfortably ticking along in this winter wonderland at around about 30-40 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And so for that first day or two when it was like this, we were like, fantastic. It was about -8, -9 at this point, so it wasn't too cold, especially with all this gear. And the adrenaline was going, all this blizzard and that sort of thing, and it was enjoyable. It was what we were after in the first place.
Yeah, and we were scooting on ice, literally. A lot of the time the roads were like this, and we had summer tyres, so no studs or anything like that. So we were slipping all over the place, hearts pounding, adrenaline pumping, lorries everywhere. First day, great. Second, third day, 6th week, not so great. It got very scary very quickly.
Yeah, we
And,
basically, so obviously anywhere, you can sort of, get a SIM card anywhere these days and look at your phone and check what the weather's going to be. So at this point, we were about to spend the next week going up around the top of China, down to Cheetah. And we'd taken a look at our phones and we could see over the next week it was going to get colder and colder and colder the more north we got. And it was going to drop to pretty much -30.
Yeah.
So we were like, right, okay, this is going to be a challenge. So suddenly it went from this adrenaline, fun thing we were doing to sort of survival, I guess, in the space of 2 or 3 days when it dawned with what we were doing. But we said to ourselves, okay, let's get over the top of China. People said to us back in Vladivostok, if you make it to Cheetah, you've made it. You're through the worst of it. because that ride was apparently going to be really barren. You wouldn't see anything for 300-400 kilometres. That's what we were told. They were wrong with that. It was about every 70 kilometres there was a coffee shop. So
Yeah.
they need to check their facts.
Only way we survived, really.
Yeah, exactly. But we made it to Cheetah, and we were like, fantastic. We're here. That's the worst over. And at first thought it was, right. It was about -8 again. It was pretty comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we got our phones out again and checked what was coming next. And by the way, we planned for -30. Looked on our phones, and there's a cold snap coming to the region. It doesn't come at this time of year, and it's going to be -40 anytime soon. And by this point, we'd just done 2 weeks. We're sat in Cheetah, we're staring at that really long road back, another 4 weeks potentially, about 4,000 miles or something.
Yeah.
So it was going to be a long way. And it was the first time that we really thought, this is just really stupid and scary, and we're going to kill ourselves for this ridiculous project we thought up with a beer. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Everything started freezing. It was -35. Everything froze. The batteries in your sat-nav, the bags were brittle. You could almost peel them off. Or everything was. The bike was freezing up. It was just horrendously cold, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It felt awful when you're in the sidecar as well. You would just sit there, and obviously this Arctic is designed to be moved in, but if you just sit there and take it, you freeze, and it's horrible. I can't stress, don't do this.
It's worth noting that the obvious question is, why didn't we take heated gear? The reason being is that our bike is so crap that we thought it would probably break with heated gear, so we couldn't trust it, so we had to go the other way.
Oh, yeah.
So this sort of happened, and then once we got below -25, this started.
Yeah.
So essentially, again, we are idiots, so we didn't buy heated visors, probably the one thing we should have got.
Yeah.
So this is the effect of basically sitting there breathing into your visor after about half an hour, and the whole thing ices over, so you can't see anything.
Yeah.
And so obviously when you're sat in the sidecar, you can, you sort of like, okay, well I'll just, I'd rather have a warm face than a crippled face.
There's that face.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. So obviously when you're driving, you've got no choice but you need to see. So this was about after 15 minutes of driving, and we've been driving along, and I have to leave my visor open.
Regularly, every 20 minutes you'd be on the bike, your face would turn into this. And when you're in the sidecar, you just sit there and think, oh, just watch the ice form and see if I die today. Here, you just let it freeze. And for the first 10 minutes, it's really painful. And then you don't notice it. And that's when it can get dangerous. Then you stop after 10 minutes and wrinkle your skin, make sure you're not getting frostbite, and then carry on again. It was stupid. Yeah, and in the sidecar it was really dangerous. So we started making adaptations. Brilliant idea.
We thought we need to sort of, let's try and put our visors down at least. So this is, your everyday bit of washing machine tube turned into a snorkel. Obviously, you can't really go snorkeling in Siberia, so
Couldn't buy one.
yeah, let's try and make our own. It didn't work. We sort of ended up with really nasty ulcers at the top of our lip. Yeah, had it cut in as we were driving along.
So the visors look the same anyway.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so that was pointless.
These work though. These are our magical curtains. We turned it into a rocket ship, put some duct tape on the sides, and they stopped the wind cutting across. And the guy in the sidecar no longer had to sit in the fetal position. He could sit up and lift the visor up now and again to see what's going on. But the big problem with this is you can now not see the driver. And that's really key because we lost our headsets way back. They weren't working anymore. So we had no communication with each other. And we're on the wrong side of the road. So the lorries, you've got to try and overtake by tucking out. Not that we were overtaking anything, but the lorries were overtaking us. And literally, they would be here, wheels, massive wheels spinning next to me here like that. And you wouldn't know if the guy who was driving, when he slipped, had control of it or not. Before you could look up, and if he was panicking, not holding it, you think, God, I'm going to die. But now you wouldn't know if he was in control or not. So he might be up there, singing Mustang Sally in his headset, and you're in there dying, like scared to death. Am I going to die? And that was fine for the first couple of days again. And then 2 weeks of it, or 3 weeks of it, and you're just like waking up a broken mess every morning, drinking your coffee like, I'm going to die today. It really got us down, actually. We're joking about it now. We're miserable.
Yeah. And we kept trying things. These are our attempt at snow chains. Let's have a scooter cycle. You can tell now by looking at them, they look crap. But at the time, they look
we
brilliant.
thought, wow.
And, those 20 kilometres were just so much better than the other 4,000 when they were working. But then they snapped and they nearly killed us. But they didn't. We're here. So we were trying to keep it on the road in different ways, that sort of thing. Lorries were even struggling to keep it on the road. This is actually a straight road as well, this was. So there's no turning or anything which you think maybe it would slip on. That was literally this lorry What I find so unusual about Russia is that obviously extremely rich country, and we've been to a variation of countries, and you kind of think most of them you drive like maniacs, but we kind of thought, well, Russia, surely they're going to be slightly better drivers, and yet on the iciest, worst conditioned roads I've ever been on, you've got these massive lorries steaming past you at 120 kilometers an hour, and obviously this is the fact. It was like once every 200 kilometers.
So, yeah, it was a nightmare. It wasn't just affecting us; it was affecting the bike too. Everything frozen it, all the seals, fuel leaking everywhere, oil coming out the starter motor, bitched bolts and stuff just freezing and they're not working properly and falling out. This is where our clutch fell apart just because it got too cold. All these kind of weird things were occurring. So yeah, it was just getting pretty intense. We got a couple of shots here of just how intense it was. So I don't know if you can play. Can you play? Press and
Try,
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it'll work or not.
I think it will work.
Is it?
Yeah. Do that. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Oh no, that's the actual presentation itself, isn't it? You just do that. Okay.
That's freaking frozen.
They're the sort of regular roads. That's bread and butter stuff that you get. Sometimes I feel like I'm starring the day after tomorrow, and in a minute I'm just going to do one of the blokes like.
Move my shirt out. Need to step away.
I know. Where's your reasoning? No, right. Okay. Oh, we got the bags here.
So essentially, at the end of that, as I said, that was sort of us pretty much combining the fact that, I mean, the scooter and sidecar broke down all the time everywhere, but in Russia it just broke down more because obviously the cold makes things worse. Seals were, just loosening, getting freezing themselves. Everything was breaking. We were breaking, and we were sort of on the brink at this point where, as we said before, usually we found ourselves in these sort of dangerous positions we'd been in other continents and stuff. You sort of realise it was dangerous on reflection. But here we found ourselves about 2 weeks into Russia, with looking at this map with about 4,000 miles still to go, realising how dangerous this was and how angry we were of ourselves for trying to scoot through Siberia midwinter.
Yeah, and we were kind of on the brink, and then, oh, hang on, these guys turned up. So the Russian people arrived, so to speak. This is Klaus, he called himself Santa Claus. He came out to the cafe. We were just eating our daily dose of borscht. Anyone had borscht before? Yeah, these guys have. You've had borscht. It's like beetroot soup, we think. Couldn't work out what the white bit was for ages. Thought it was an egg, and then it was mayonnaise, sour cream. Yeah. So we were eating borscht, and then in comes Klaus, Santa Claus, And he was trying to chat to us in Russian for ages, and every day we'd get this all the time to local guys interested, and you'd be like, yeah, nice to meet you, and he was going on for about 15 minutes, and we're like, Klaus, seriously dude, I'm trying to check if you've got 9 or 10 toes right now. Please, give me a minute. And then we could see we're kind of like, all right, nice to meet you. And he whipped his phone out and showed us our spot tracker page, and he'd come out to find us from his local town just to see if we were okay or if there's anything he could help with.
Yeah. Basically what happened is a guy called Sergey had been following our trip back to Vladivostok, and each sort of daily Facebook post we put on, he'd been sharing them into a Russian version of Facebook called VK.
Yeah.
And so over the course of the first 2 weeks of Russia, we built this following on VK up to about 15,000 people in Russia. We only have about 3,000 people following us in the UK.
The Russians loved it.
Yeah. Well, they were just sort of baffled that 2 British idiots would be scooting across Siberia. They were
Yeah.
So what followed was this.
Yeah. Every town, village we went to, this turned up. Signs to greet us. People just stood out with their motorbikes, come in. Even when we were in hotels, people were flagging us down, giving us stuff. This guy just came to our hotel with 2 steak dinners one night and got us really drunk on vodka. So regularly. And it turned from being really intense and then sitting and moaning at each other every night in a dodgy motel to being really intense and then drinking intense amounts of vodka every night.
But it was getting us through.
Yeah.
It's worth noting there is a story as to why he's wearing a helmet. He was part of the Russian military and he didn't want his face to be seen.
Yeah.
So it's not that we just thought we tried the helmets on together in we do like
We
wearing
were rocking out to AC/DC.
We were,
We brought steak dinner, yeah. And then these guys, loads of stuff like this, just biker groups, dishing out the vodka. Come on, please come and have a laugh at our sort of biker pad. There's this huge scene. So this kept kind of happening and happening and happening, and we were trying all these amazing sort of different cultural things that you get to try when you visit different places, and the local will take you in. And one of them is the Russian banya. Has anyone been in a Russian banya? Yeah, one back there, been in a Russian banya. It's like a sauna. We've got a clip of what happens in it. It's quite long. Reese gets naked again. Yeah,
I was really drunk in this guy, so you know.
Right, so we're at Krasnoyarsk, which is pretty much central Siberia. So today was well into the nice phase. We've come to Alexander's house, and we got invited to on our way to Novosibirsk in Omsk. And you can probably see, yes, I am a dressing gown. And that's because we're about to go into a sauna. The guys are in now. I asked if we could bring the camera in, and they were like, sure, why not? Let's enjoy ourselves. So you're about to be treated to something really special. About 6 to 7 lads, all enjoying their time in the sauna. So, Sidecar's inside, all tucked up for the evening. Let's go. It's about minus 20 outside, and we're going to go in somewhere through plus 60. Right, let's do it.
we are very drunk.
Jesus. Alright. Great planning.
Fully naked 75-year-old Sergey that met that day.
Never again. Let's have a look at it. Wow, that was sunny out. Hot cold.
Right, yeah. So that was that. Yeah. So kind of that's how they treated us. It was nice, I guess. Vodka and being very hot and cold. So then the breakdowns kept happening and this kind of stuff. These guys fix it. This guy's fixing our fuel pump with a full tank of fuel, hovering over, smoking a cigarette.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? Like if you're in the UK and someone did that, you're like, what the hell are you doing? But in Russia, it's just like, or anywhere else, you're like, you know better, so carry on.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it. So yeah, this kind of stuff, fixing stuff, and this guy just finished his office job, didn't want to get his trousers dirty when he did our welding. Yeah, and then they started coming out on the road and giving us things, like literally gifts, like coming out. These guys came, knocked on our motel door at 7 in the morning to give us some pin badges. This guy came 7 in the morning to give us some gherkins. He'd driven 60 miles to give us those gherkins. Amazing. And he literally just gave us the gherkins. Nice to meet you. Got a selfie and left. It was weird, but very nice. That's a Siberian MMA champion, mixed martial arts. He thought honey's good for you. These guys need some honey. Drove a long way to give us that. And yeah, this kind of stuff kept happening really regularly. And one of the things that did happen is we got given some caviar in Moscow. And the guy said, take it home and give it to your parents to try. But we thought they're not really into caviar. We've never tried caviar. And we thought, why not bring this experience to the Overland event? You guys can see what it's like to try something from a random Russian person. So we don't know if it's safe. We don't know what it tastes like. We've not tasted it. But Reese is going to dish out some caviar now. Go around.
Who would like some?
Who would like some? Yeah, dish it out. There's plenty more if we run out on this tray. We've got extra crackers and extra tin. Yeah. Take a minute, drink some tea, eat some caviar. Go on, mate, let me have one. Yeah, you go. Okay, sure.
Very good for ladies. Some more of that stuff.
I think I'll be avoiding it then. Once with the prize, but yeah, but not today.
Yeah.
Quite nice actually, isn't it? Fish really salty. Quite fishy, isn't it? What is it, guys? Caviar. It's fish eggs, yeah. If I'm honest, I hate it. Yeah.
Then it's good.
Okay.
And the fish.
And the little salted fish stuff, yeah.
Had you done vodka before?
Yeah, but not like this, not that kind of vodka.
But this was good vodka.
Yeah, exactly. The hangover isn't actually that bad. And they chase it with tomato juice quite regularly. And that was, we thought it was amazing.
So where's the free vodka juice?
Yeah.
Sardines. Might as well just eat sardines.
Yeah.
You touched it now.
Yeah, just about.
Thanks. That was my question.
We're here, yeah. Yeah, hate. Yeah. No, we're fine. We developed this thing where we realised that the other person didn't care at all if you were angry at them, and vice versa. So there was no need to be angry. What was it going to achieve? And then, yeah.
We hate headache.
Yeah. It's a good relationship, I think.
No, it's fun.
We'll take up a minute. No worries.
Yeah. Right, well, shall I crack on while you're dishing that out, mate?
Yeah, just go.
Okay.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, pass it around.
Okay.
Yeah, much
Pass it
better.
around. Come on, if we run out, we've got more tins. See us after.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I was going to do that.
So what's next? We've got lots of gifts. Yeah, the Russian people kind of just pulled us through, basically.
Yeah.
We lasted driving at those conditions maybe for like 4 weeks or something. maybe
4 or
pretty quick,
5.
4 or 5 weeks. We left in November. We got to Moscow on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It looked like that. Moscow's incredible. The architecture is just brilliant at that time of year as well. All the Christmas lights. Only place I've ever been that rivals London's Christmas lights. It's an incredible place to visit.
Yeah. It's worth noting. It's also quite interesting, really, because you sort of go to Moscow and it's a sort of, it has a sort of European feel, really built up city. But what's bizarre is that Russia's such a rich country, and everywhere else across Siberia, people are living in massive, massive tower blocks, tin huts, and it's just a real difference in terms of how rich Moscow is compared to how poor everywhere else seems to be all in one country, which is bizarre.
Yeah, the toilet's the best example. In Moscow, you've got toilets. In Siberia, it's all squatting pans. I don't think anyone chooses that at minus 40 in the winter. You have to go out and use a squatting pan at minus 40. You get this really weird phenomenon where you all crap on the same exact place and it grows. You freeze into this like shite stalagmite. It's absolutely disgusting, but kind of interesting too. Yeah, so that was Russia. We carried on, kept going, and eventually we got back to Ace Cafe. Not without problems though, did we?
Oh no, yeah. When we were in Poland, our engine failed. So we'd driven 50,000 kilometres around the world on one Honda scooter engine, and 1,000 kilometres from home, it failed. But luckily, the Poznan Sidecar Club found another one 100 kilometres up the road, as luck would have it.
Yeah.
And we made a cafe for arrival on the 19th of January to become the first people to ever circumnavigate the globe on a scooter.
Yeah. Do it. So I guess we should just mention before we go the reason we did it. Modern day slavery. That's why we were riding. That was always the reason for us. We weren't bikers before. We heard about the cause before and wanted to do something to raise awareness of it. So we're here doing that. Really, I won't talk about it too much. But there's 40 million people still enslaved around the globe. 13,000 in the UK. They think something like that. There's probably a lot more. It's a really serious issue. We're all sort of complicit in it, in the things we do and what we buy and how we act. We've got loads of information on it here at the front if you want a leaflet or anything, and you can read about it on our website. We met 10 different organisations as we travelled around the world and blogged about their work. You can read that on the Modern Slavery tab on our site. And yeah, that's what we did. We're still fundraising for the charities we met. We should mention that. You can buy the T-shirts in the Overland shop. They're £15 for the super cool one and £10 for the not so cool one. So
Really
all the
sad.
proceeds, all the proceeds go to charity and to the organisations we met. So that's the reason we did it. You have been told now, you know. So come and find out more if you don't want to be involved. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to be making a film, writing a book. That's what we're doing all our time, talking more about this sort of stuff. You can come and sign up to our mailing list to hear more about it if you like. But apart from that, I think that's it. That's it. That's us. We're finished. We did it. Yeah.
Any questions about anyone thinking about scooting through Siberia in winter or slavery or anything?
Any questions about anything, please feel free. To him.
You think the slavery's getting better, is it?
Well, there's a lot more awareness raised over the last couple of years. I mean, when we started this, we genuinely didn't know about it at all. And in the last couple of years, it's always in the headlines on the BBC and newspapers and stuff. So I think people are like realising it's a thing. It's certainly not getting better. The issue's not getting fixed. 40 million people, that's 3 times the amount that was during the transatlantic slave trade in England, lots of it, yeah. It's a really big issue, but there's loads of great organisations that are fighting it. They're a really small amount, but yeah, governments are waking up, things are happening, I don't know, maybe not in our lifetimes, but in a couple of generations or a couple of generations more, it will slowly start to get stamped out. Who knows? I'm not sure, but yeah, there's definitely stuff we need to be doing to change it. Yeah. Anyone else? What question?
Did the Russians understand about modern slavery?
Yeah, we had a couple of interesting conversations about it because everywhere we went, we talked about it. It was difficult in Russia, just difficult talking about all sorts of things. In Russia, they're exposed to a completely different media machine. So you meet loads of different, really intelligent people, and they're exposed to different news the whole time. And it was really apparent also with like all the stuff. UK-Russia relations weren't very good when we were there, and we were getting stuff like, isn't it so funny that you guys think that we poisoned those people outside that cathedral? They were just on holiday, man. What's the big deal? And stuff like, why are you sending that ship to, you know, Ukraine? I mean, why are you trying to be aggressive towards us? What's the big deal? And all these kind of things were kind of coming out, and you couldn't really have, like, if say if you were in Russia, you could say there's loads of slavery in Russia today. People were like, what are you talking about? No, of course there's not. That's ridiculous. And that would happen in other places as well. But Russia, there's a really kind of set news. You learn certain things. And I guess they would say the same about us. They did say the same about us. One thing they said is, you know, you only get one story. We get both sides of the story here. So that's why you think we're bad. Works both ways. It's interesting. Yeah.
What was your link? What made you decide to raise money for this particular charity? What's your connection? You were his slave for 2 years.
No, it's quite, I guess actually it happened during the migrant crisis in Calais. So we didn't know much about slavery at all. So essentially we found it bizarre that people were in the news, these sort of negative stories about people stranded in Calais, sort of, you know, people who are murderers, rapists, that sort of thing. We thought this can't be true. They just seem like helpless people. So that's how the project started, this idea that we would essentially go around the world in this inappropriate way to show that surely the world's a friendly place, and, you know, basically explain that. And then we thought, well, we've got an opportunity here to sort of raise awareness of a human rights abuse, and that's pretty much how slavery sort of fell on our laps, if you like, and the more research we did.
We wanted to do an issue that really affected the people caught up in the migrant crisis, because that's where the human traffickers will prey on people who are vulnerable. Oh, you're on the streets, I've got a job for you in London, come with me, you'll be fine. Suddenly you're trapped in slavery. And loads of those sort of things were happening. We spoke to Unseen and we talked about it, and the more we started to realise how involved we were, just with the things we were buying, the t-shirts we were buying, and that really shocked me. Like, we did this thing online, you can do it online, how many slaves work for you? I can't remember the website, I can find it. I had like 37 slaves working for me or something in some way, just from the things I bought and the clothes I wore and things like that. So you can make little changes in your life just to bring that number down. And that's quite nice, really. You don't obviously see it in person, but if you did see it in person, you wouldn't do it. And that was kind of the whole theme around it. You know, if you saw these guys at the border really trying to get in, desperate, you wouldn't vote for them to not come in. You'd just be like, can I get you a cup of tea? And then you can sort of go on your way. You wouldn't be like this really hard line. And that whole theme of just being a bit more personally connected through the medium of a ship vehicle was kind of how we thought would be a nice project.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, slavery is uncomfortable for most people to think about. So we all presume that it doesn't really exist. And it's alive and well. It was only made illegal in Mauritania in 2013.
Yeah.
And only made actionable in 2016.
Yeah.
That's 3 years ago.
Yeah. And most countries have never convicted people on for human trafficking.
Not one person has in Mauritania ever.
Yeah.
In the history of the country. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Scary stuff. So yeah, another question there.
If you could kind of give one tip of how to, like, say, if we wanted to be like, I don't know what I'm trying
Less
to say.
complicit in it, like
Yeah,
on slavery. Yeah, sure. It's really hard. I mean, because the thing is, you sort of hear about something on the news, maybe about a certain shop that's operating with sweatshops or something like that, and you think, God, I'm never shopping there again. You catch yourself 6 weeks later, and you'll be in the shop again. And I think it's kind of something you need to train.
It's
really.
kind of, I think, it's well common sense. Like, if you're buying a pair of socks at 50 pence, I mean, you know, think about the production lines that have gone into that sock for it to be that cheap. It doesn't really add up. So you should be, you know, wherever you're buying things, you know, just, common sense. If something's extremely cheap, why is it that cheap? And then, you know, that's pretty much as simple as what I'd say.
Are there particular brands you'd suggest we avoid in the UK?
I don't think so, because the thing is, we could come up and talk about different brands, but there's so much like corporate social responsibility messaging that goes into it and whitewashes all this stuff. You know, we could say that Primark's really bad because everything's really cheap, but to be honest, Tommy Hilfiger could be doing the same thing down the road and you wouldn't know. They're just charging more for it. So I think it'd be wrong of us to say there's loads of really bad brands. There's certain products you've got to watch out for, like unsustainable fishing sources, like Thai prawns and things like that. That's a really common one. There's lots of products. I think best thing to do is come and chat to us about it. We'll give you some information on where you can properly read up on it, rather than just have us Burke sell it.
It's not just cheap stuff either. It's
exactly.
higher end are at it too. So,
yeah, exactly.
It's not just for like Primark.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
It's all the higher end. They're all
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
And the Middle East is legalised slavery in some respects, and that's actually lived there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dubai was built on
Yeah.
sure. slavery.
Yeah. The same thing's happened with Qatar now with the World Cup production stuff.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
I've got a
charity-related one. You said you weren't bikers before. Will you be bikers again, or are you done?
It's funny you say that. We're sort of carrying on saying we're not biking, but you're sort of like, I can't now. I walk past a shop, I walk past a motorbike shop, and I'm like, I'll have a quick look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does a little bit.
Yeah, I guess. I think I might get a motorbike. My girlfriend's not very happy about it. But
So it's a pleasure pain thing.
yeah, they're cool.
And are
they're
you
fun.
planning any more trips yet? Oh, I hate that question, right? But I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yeah, we just had the same with up here too. And no, not at the moment. We're not planning any more big trips to the sidecar. We're going to be doing lots of this stuff. You know, we didn't actually get to raise that much awareness when we were on the road because we were fixing the sidecar. So now we're going to be doing stuff like that, going to schools, taking the sidecar around the UK, doing lots of talks. Probably for the next year, to be honest. Then we'll think of something stupid again.
Brilliant. Sounds good. Look forward to it.
Last one? Yeah, sure.
If there was one golden nugget of advice you could each give to people wanting to go on batty trips, what would it be?
Don't go.
I would just say, do just go. Yeah, I mean, we literally, so we're not bikers, so we didn't even have a clue we didn't know what bearing was when we left. So everything, we still aren't bikers, and we still didn't know how to fix things, but you just sort of learn and sort of pick things up as you go. The world's an unbelievably accessible place, and it's an unbelievably friendly place. And it's even more friendly if you've got a really stupid vehicle, because people laugh at it. So, you know, it's one of the things, just go, don't worry about it, it'll be fine.
Yeah, my piece of advice would probably be what Sam preaches all the time, is that's just take a smile and just be relaxed, because then people will just do all that hard stuff for you. If you turn up aggressive or just stressed and really worked up about things, people get a bit worked up about you and what's going on. We didn't have one incident when we were around the world. I think it's just because we're pushovers, really. And we just smile and do whatever we're told, and then people are generally nice. You know, now and again you need to be a little bit assertive, but if you're friendly the whole time, pretty much the world will put you on a conveyor belt and take you around, whether you're on a crap vehicle or not. So, yeah, that's what I'd say. Cool. I think we better wrap up because we're out of time. So yeah, thanks, guys.
Can we finish the caviar?
Oh, it's over here.